Welcome, Age of Vintage Society. Today we are taking a tour into a crazy Beatles fan theory and investigate why fans think Paul McCartney is replaced by an imposter. Make sure to watch the video until the end and leave your thoughts in the comments. If you are new here, join our wonderful community by subscribing to the Age of Vintage channel. Paul is dead, the story of music's most notorious conspiracy theory. One of the greatest urban legends ever, this story just grew and grew. The whole phenomenon, however accidentally, shows how crazy and devoted fan love can get. 50 years ago, a Detroit DJ accidentally started the biggest hoax in rock and roll history, the Paul is dead craze. It blew up on October the 12th, 1969, when Russ Gibb was hosting his show on WKNR. A mysterious caller told him to put on the Beatles' White Album and spin the number 9 intro from Revolution 9 backwards. When Gibb tried it on the air, he heard the words, "Turn me on, dead man." The clues kept coming. At the end of Strawberry Fields Forever, John says, "I buried Paul." What could it all mean? The myth had more legs in America than it did in the UK, for one simple reason. People had seen Paul leaving his house in St John's Wood or arriving at Abbey Road. The Beatle would also be spotted out on the town, attending gigs and the theatre. American college students had published articles claiming that clues to McCartney's death could be found among the lyrics and artwork of the Beatles' recordings. Clue hunting proved infectious, and within a few weeks had become an international phenomenon. But who was the imposter? To spare the public from grief, the Beatles replaced him with William Campbell, the winner of a McCartney look-alike contest. Where and when did they hold that then? Paul, who is alive, was said by many to have died and been replaced by bandmates John Lennon, Ringo Starr and George Harrison with an imposter. It meant the Beatles were hiding a secret. Paul McCartney got killed in a car crash back in 1966. The rumour spread like wildfire as fans searched their Beatle albums for clues. 50 years later, Paul is dead remains the weirdest and most famous of all music conspiracy theories. It became a permanent part of Beatles lore, a totally fan-generated phenomenon that the band could only watch with amusement or exasperation. As Paul told Rolling Stone in 1974, someone from the office rang me up and said, "Look, Paul, you're dead." And I said, "Oh, I don't agree with that." Needless to say, it wasn't true. Paul is not just gloriously alive, he's still peaking as a songwriter and performer. After the Detroit radio broadcast, people pounced on the story. 2 days later, the Michigan Daily explained the Abbey Road cover as a funeral procession. The preacher, John in white, the undertaker, Ringo in black, the corpse, poor Macca. And bringing up the rear, George in blue denim as the gravedigger. Man, even in the conspiracy theories, George gets shafted with the dirty work. Here's how the rumour went, as summed up by Nicholas Schaffner in The Beatles Forever. Paul died on November the 9th, 1966. He drove away from Abbey Road late the night before, a stupid bloody Tuesday, then blew his mind out in a car. He was officially pronounced dead, OPD, on Wednesday morning at 5 o'clock, which is why George points to that line on the Sgt. Pepper sleeve, while Paul wears an OPD patch. but the other Beatles decided to hush up the news, so Wednesday morning papers didn't come. Somehow they kept Paul's death a secret, replaced him with a lookalike, then dropped sly hints about the cover-up scam. The Impostor wrote "Hey Jude" and "Blackbird," which means he's the guy who probably should have had Paul's job in the first place. If Paul is dead, then his impostor is still at large. He met and married Linda Eastman, with whom he had 4 children before losing her to breast cancer in 1998. He released a live album in 1993 called Paul is Live, likely story, and produced more than 20 solo albums, and that's not even counting the ones released by Wings. Then he endured a horrible divorce from Heather Mills, which may have made him wish he were dead, or at least were still Billy Shears. So, who is the real McCartney? The world may never know. Despite the severity of the rumour, Paul revealed some years later the reason he let it continue. The theories were first class. The cover of Abbey Road has the 4 Beatles crossing the road in a manner that is supposed to symbolise a funeral parade. John is wearing white, which is supposed to be a colour of mourning in Eastern religions, and Ringo is wearing funeral black. Paul McCartney is out of step and holding his cigarette in his right hand when he is left-handed. Impostor. Also on the sleeve you see a girl in a blue dress walk past. Some people felt that this represented lovely Rita, the hitchhiker Paul was supposed to have been with at the time of the accident. Paul was also shoeless on the Abbey Road sleeve, reminding us of the custom to bury people without their shoes in some cultures. And the best one in the background on Abbey Road is the Volkswagen Beetle, with the number plate LMW281F, which is supposed to say that Paul would be 28 if still alive. However, Paul was 27 at the time. Some say that some cultures count you as 1 when you were born, and so that he would be 28 in their customs. More clues were found in You Never Give Me Your Money. The words 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all good children go to heaven. Is go to heaven a reference to Paul being dead? Curiously, the numbers here add up to 28. Why does the villain explain their entire plan to the hero as soon as they get the upper hand? Why do killers leave detailed incriminating documents called The Plan on their hard drives on Dateline? Who can say? In the world of weird conspiracy theories, conspirators are compelled to place cryptic but decipherable clues all over the place. It's like they want to be caught, or it's like conspiracy fans desperately want to believe they do. Paul McCartney admits Beatles planned death hoax. While on a recent vacation in New Orleans, Paul McCartney let his guard down and admitted what some Beatles fans have suspected for years. He confirmed that the Paul is dead clues found in several Beatles album covers and songs were deliberately planted by the group as part of an elaborate scheme dating back to the summer of 1966. According to McCartney, the plan was formulated by manager Brian Epstein. Brian dropped by the studio to hear the playback of our latest single, Paperback Writer. He didn't like it one bit. Not a love song, he said. He was concerned that the press and our fans wouldn't get it. He told us, people want love songs. They won't spend money for a song about a novel writer. You boys are going to blow it with this one. But by this time we were running the show, not Brian, We insisted that Paperback Writer would be our next single and told him that the song represented the new direction our songwriting was going in. As with most crackpot theories, there is one crucial missing element: motive. Why would the band not only cover up Paul's death, but leave trails of breadcrumbs on every subsequent record? The last batch of clues were planted on the album cover to Abbey Road, which was designed by Paul. McCartney came up with the idea to stage his own funeral. George in the role of the gravedigger, dressed in work clothes. Ringo, the funeral director, wore a black suit. John the angel wore white. Paul was barefoot, as it is the custom in several cultures to bury people without their shoes. In a subtle touch, the left-handed McCartney held a cigarette in his right hand. This was to imply that the Paul who had been with the group since mid-1966 was a right-handed imposter. Well, I'll tell you what. The remaining Beatles must have been exhausted keeping the secret about Paul's death, and on top of that, writing clues in songs. Clever sods, these Beatles. Anyway, I'm very pleased Paul isn't dead. We've lost 2 Beatles, and that's 2 too many already. If you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you are new here, and if you want to support my work, please visit my Patreon page. Now it is your turn. What do you think? What is behind the whole Paul is dead theory, and what would be the motive?